Hi, it is January 3rd now, I believe. It's the day after my Grandpa Gary's memorial. And I'm really starting to realize that, he is gone. And, I'm really upset about it. Today I've cried more than I have in a while now. And I found it weird on how after he passed away, I used to be really emotional all the time, even when watching movies. When I watched movies, I would seriously cry whenever someone passed away or someone was hurt. And now I look at it and I can't even feel any emotion towards it at all now. But after today, being at the memorial, and hearing all the music that has inspired his life and that I heard throughout my childhood being with him and everything like that, it made me realize how lucky I was to have him in my life to begin with. I know my Grandpa Gary, he wasn't the best father, and he wasn't the best man in some ways, but he was the best grandfather I could ever ask for. We may have had some difficulties in our relationship at one point, but now that I think back on it, he was a fantastic grandfather, and he was always full of wisdom in life, always. I remember some of my earliest memories were sitting in his lap in the lawn chair, and he'd be holding his beer and he'd just be talking, talk about the old days, talk about the railroad, talk about training day. He always quoted certain things, and one quote that always stuck in my mind that he always said was, my, said the spider to the fly, jump right into my web. And I am so thankful I have the great memories I do of my Grandpa Gary. And I wanted to make this video kind of for him in a way, to show people what kind of a grandfather he was. He was a good man, and I just remember so much. I remember when I was really little, when I was small, that he would carry me on his shoulders and we'd walk down the road all the time. He'd just walk me down, and I'd always feel like I'm on top of the world, like nothing could hurt me. I would lunge backwards and dive forward, and he would never let me fall. I remember whenever he would get so drunk, and he'd always tell me, Tasha Gale, you get me a beer, I'll give you $1. I'd start bringing beer after beer after beer, I'd get $1 every time. I remember the stories. There's one story that always makes me laugh and shocked at the same time, and it's the story of the day he blew himself up. And the story is basically that one day my grandpa, drunk of course as usual, decides he's going to burn all this brush down, and he throws a road flare underneath the pile, like this huge pile of brush, and he decides it's not lighting fast enough, so carrying his beer, he gets a can of gas or something like that, like a little gallon of gas, and he decides, I'm going to douse this entire brush with gasoline and light it while I'm right on top of it. Let's just say every single person I've ever talked to says the same thing. It sounded like a sonic boom, and then all of a sudden they saw him fly. It's funny because he's an alcoholic, he was an alcoholic, and for so many people to say that when it killed him, it saved his life in many ways. One, it saved his life on that incident, and it saved his life throughout this entire ordeal with him fighting cancer, because the doctors have told us since he didn't eat, that if it wasn't for the alcohol, that he would have died from starvation long ago. So, regardless of how I always felt about him being an alcoholic, I guess in a way I'm kind of happy because it did prolong his life in so many senses. I remember holidays. Holidays were always the best because we'd go sit outside and barbecue and just talk. We'd play chess. That was my favorite thing ever, was to try to beat my grandpa at chess. No one could beat him. I don't think anyone has ever beat him at chess. He was always so smart. Playing Santana, that was like one of his favorite songs, is Santana. He'd dance. He always had a specific dance. He'd brush his hair. He'd get himself down. He always did the same dance, and he'd always sing. He was an amazing man. He really was. I mean, he was a fantastic man. And I'm very sad that he's gone. But, you know, I know he's in heaven drinking his Crown Royal, drinking some beer, as he always did. But he did like Crown Royal, and I remembered that because he'd always give me little purple bags, and I'd use them for something. He did so much for me, and I realize that now. He was a fantastic grandfather, and I was his granddaughter. And he loved me so much, and I miss him. I really miss my grandpa. But I'm glad he's not suffering anymore. And I'm trying not to look at how he passed away in such a terrible manner, but how he lived. And he lived a good life. He lived his life to the fullest, and he would always say, I do it my way. And I'm so proud of my uncle Robert. He did a fantastic job with the memorial service. We had a musical memorial service to where we played music, all of his favorite songs, Stairway to Heaven, and Santana. It's just so much. I always heard so many of these songs throughout the memorial. And my grandma, oh, she's such a strong woman. She is. There was one song that she specifically always wanted to play at his funeral. Right now, I don't know why. I can't even think of the name of it. I'm trying to think of the lyrics. I can't even remember. I'm sorry. It's been a very long day today. And afterwards, my Aunt Erin sang a song for him, and I'm proud of her. She did a very fantastic job. And I just never seemed to realize till now how much he really influenced my life. Because I realized I want to live my life to the fullest like he did, and I thank him so much for everything he's done in my life. And I'm glad God blessed me with a grandpa as great as him. And now that he has passed, and tomorrow we've got to bury his ashes, I realized that one thing he always wanted me to do is get my education, and that's what I'm really trying for right now. And I realize I've got a long road ahead of me, but I can do it. And I know one day he's going to look down and be proud of me for what I've accomplished. And that's what I'm striving for. So I'm very happy and blessed to have the people I did have with me during this process, because to be honest, without them I don't think I would be able to cope with it as well as I am right now. So Nikki Connell, Richard Connell, Morgan Mabe, Anthony Phillips, Bill Jackson, and even Gary, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for being there for me, for helping me through everything on this. Oh, Cassandra, Olivia Genoe, Amanda Mundine, Derek, and his girlfriend Joyce Ferreira. I can't forget y'all. Y'all, all of y'all helped me so much. I mean, I seriously can't believe I am so blessed to not only have had such a great grandfather, but to still have such great friends that stood by my side during this. And I just want to say I love all of y'all, and thank y'all.